What's good, geeks? I'm Jake, and I'm Gen X.
I'm Anna, and I'm Gen Z.
And we are Generational Geeks. Today we are talking about The Mandalorian, Season 2. Much spoilers ahead.
Many, all of them.
All of the spoilers ahead.
This is your warning.
So we're going to talk about each episode individually. We'll go in order. We'll go a little bit in depth. Not too much. This is just kind of what we thought about each episode.
Eat up?
What we liked about it. Maybe some things we didn't like about it. And yeah.
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 We've seen each episode at least twice. We usually stay up till midnight on Thursday night and watch the new episode. That way we're not getting any spoilers on Twitter or Facebook or wherever. And then a couple days later after church on Sundays, my son and his fiance will come over and watch the episode with us. So that's how we ended up watching each episode twice. Plus they're worth, I think, for the most part, watching twice. So each episode, they call it chapter. So instead of episode, or instead of season 2, episode 1, it's chapter 9. So we'll start with chapter 9, The Marshal. This episode was 52 minutes, and this one, the Mandalorian is drawn to the Outer Rims in search of his kind. In the beginning of the episode, he talks to this dude at a fighting ring about where he can find some Mandalorians, and he told him to go to Tatooine, which he went to Tatooine in season 1. So he heads back to Tatooine, and he meets this guy in Boba Fett's armor, and you can tell immediately that it wasn't Boba Fett in Boba Fett's armor. It didn't fit very well. So this guy's name was Cobb Vanth, and he actually bought the armor from Jawas. And he had it for a few years, and he had used it to protect the town that he was the marshal of. This one, they had some sand people, and the sand people and the townspeople all fought to kill a crate dragon. I thought this was a great throwback to the game Knights of the Old Republic, the first one where you have to go out into the Dune Sea and kill a crate dragon, and they even had the crate dragon pearl that they pulled out at the end of the episode. It's part of the deal for killing the crate dragon. Mando gets Boba's armor back, and as they're flying off on their little speeder back to town, Mando and Baby Yoda, you see this shadowy, I guess he's not really shadowy.
Yeah.
He didn't have a hood on or nothing. You can see his face, but I knew right away it was Boba. Same guy that played Jango Fett and all the clones in the prequel movies. And there was some speculation that it was like Rex or Cody or some other clone, but I was pretty certain it was Boba Fett.
At first, I kind of thought it was Rex, but I was like, no. And he even pointed out that they'd probably all be dead since they're accelerated aging. Yeah. So
I think that would have made Rex like 90 years old. So I liked this episode. I gave this episode like an 8.5. It was good action. I think lots of good throwback. It kind of showed the Sand People in a positive light.
I give this episode an 8.7. What?
Nothing.
What?
Always got to be outdoing me.
You just suck.
Oh, wow.
Chapter 10, The Passenger. This episode is 40 minutes long. The Mandalorian must ferry a passenger with precious cargo on a risky journey. Frog Lady, spiders, and the X-Wing pilots, to include Dave Filoni, Baby Yoda keeps eating eggs, and the internet went wild. I liked this episode.
It was pretty good.
It wasn't like the best one.
No.
Obviously not, but
so like in this one, you know, they couldn't go in hyperspace because the frog lady had eggs that needed to be fertilized by her husband. That's
and
where
if they
were
went in
going.
hyperspace, then
The eggs would have died. I don't know if the eggs would have died.
They couldn't be fertilized or something.
So it was pretty funny to watch Baby Yoda keep eating the eggs. And I think the spider scene was pretty cool. I like how they did it.
Yeah.
And the spiders, you know, they showed up in Rebels before. So we'd kind of seen them, the animated version of them before. Mm-hmm. And when they started coming out, and they did like an
alien throwback. Because Baby Yoda's like wandering all over looking for food, and Mando's like, "Hang on, kid, I'll get you some food in a sec." And he's trying to like reason with the frog lady because she's like in this like hot spring type thing, and he's like, "Come on, it's not safe, you gotta get out, let's go get your eggs, let's get back to the ship." And Baby Yoda like wanders off by himself, and he finds these little egg looking things, and it looks a lot like the alien,
right? Well, and even the way they open up, because he just reaches in and pulls out what you can tell is like some kind of bug and eats it.
But
then all the little egg sacs around him
start to shake,
open up, and all the spiders come out, and then the big spider comes out, and the chase is on. I think out of the whole season 2, this is probably my least favorite episode.
I think my least favorite was probably 15.
Okay. This one had more action, I think, than 15.
Yeah.
But I really liked the dialogue in 15.
True.
So
I liked this one a bit more because it had kind of a horror aspect to it.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like each episode is, every other episode is like almost like a throwaway episode. Because it's like one episode he's on his mission, and then the next he's got to go, he's like sidetracked and got to go over here.
Sure, but at least in every episode he gets like viable information that can carry on the plot. Like, it's not like
but
it's
he
just
didn't get
good
any
for
viable
nothing.
information in this one.
He fixed the ship.
He broke the ship in this one, and then had to fix it enough to...
Yeah.
Yeah. But he didn't get any valuable information.
But he fixed the ship enough.
But he broke the ship.
But he fixed it.
But the ship wasn't broke when the episode started.
But he fixed it.
So what do you rate this one?
8.5.
I give this one probably like a 7.5. 8.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Get a load of this guy.
So chapter 11, The Heiress. I liked this episode.
How long was it?
Oh, I'm sorry. 35 minutes. So they finally fight off the spiders in the last episode, and they're in space. On this one, they are landing, pretty hard landing on the planet that they're supposed to be going to.
Oh my goodness.
And Mando drops off the frog lady. You see her frog husband, and they're all happy to see each other and frogging around. So Mando's trying to find more Mandalorians, and the ship captain's like, "Hey, I've seen armor like yours." I can't remember what species.
Krell,
yeah.
Krell,
the ones with the tentacle faces.
Coral.
So Mando goes with them, and he's on the ship, and they basically... Quarren, yes. So they attack Mando.
Well, first they're like, "Have you ever seen a mother Quarren?"
Eat.
Yeah.
So we learned that female Quarren don't look like male Quarren.
No. They look like big scary monsters.
So we didn't even really get to see what it looked like.
We saw the
tentacles,
maw of teeth.
So they trap Baby Yoda and Mando in with this Quarren female that's going to eat Mando supposedly, and they're going to steal his armor. But some other Mandalorians come along, and we're introduced to Bo-Katan. Bo-Katan, who is from the Rebels and the Clone Wars animated series. He's shocked
that
and
she takes her
angered
helmet off.
when she takes her helmet off, and she's like, "Yeah, that's a thing. We can take our helmets off." So
and
then
the internet also disliked this episode.
yeah, because of
boob armor,
breast armor that goes over
boobs.
the breastises.
So you heard it
apparently
here,
that's
folks.
not a thing.
If you're a female Mandalorian, chop off your boobs and make your armor flat. Otherwise, people are gonna hate you.
So Mando sees that they can take their helmets off, and they tell him that,
he's an extremist.
yeah, he's a zealot, and they reference the Watch, but not Death Watch.
No.
Which
they said they're the children of the Watch.
Yeah, which Bo-Katan was in Death Watch.
Yes.
So I don't know the difference between the Watch and Death Watch.
I heard something about it, but I don't remember what exactly it was, but it had to do with like the owl that was painted on her helmet.
I thought that was like her family.
I think it is.
Right, but there were several families in Death Watch.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
So I don't know. If you know the difference between Death Watch and Children of the Watch,
tell us.
Yeah.
Educate us.
So this was a good episode for learning that, especially for people that didn't watch the animated series, learning that Mandalorians can take their helmets off and still be Mandalorians, because it was in Rebels and it was in the Clone Wars series.
Mando had a they can fly now moment.
So we get to see the frog people again, because Mando drops Baby Yoda off for them to babysit. And then they go attack this Imperial transport ship, because Bo-Katan wants to get some guns and other munitions to try and get back Mandalore, because she was at one time the leader of Mandalore.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
What would you rate Chapter 11?
Well, I'm not done talking about it.
Well, I mean, but the bulk of the attack and stuff is Chapter 12.
Yeah. Well, no. No. So, Chapter 11, they attack the transport ship.
Oh, the transport ship.
Yes.
Okay. This guy.
So anyways, as I was saying, then Bo-Katan reveals that she's looking for the Darksaber, which, coincidentally, Moff Gideon showed that he had it in episode 8 of season 1. Mm-hmm. So that is kind of like the symbol of the leader of Mandalore. Whoever holds the Darksaber is Mandalore.
Even if they're not a Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Because Darth Maul ruled for a little while.
Yeah. So that was interesting to see that she's still chasing that down and doesn't know where Moff Gideon is, because she wants to get it back. So this episode I would rate an 8.5.
8.5. Stealing my ratings now?
I did mine first.
Well, my last one was an 8.5, so...
Wow.
Chapter 12, The Siege. And this one is 37 minutes. The Mandalorian rejoins old allies for a new mission. New one this time. Cara Dune and Grief Karga? Is that how you say it? Okay. Return, storm an Imperial outpost, and Baby Yoda steals some blue cookies that look suspiciously like macarons. But he uses the Force, so it's special. And he throws them up at the end of the episode.
The little jerk wouldn't share with him.
Yeah, so he deserved his cookies to be stolen. Sky Battle, Razor Crest versus TIE Fighters. It looks awesome. everything goes well.
Yeah, this was a good episode. Oh, you forgot Gene Man. Or Gene Guy.
Yeah, it's like the Game of Thrones Starbucks cup all over again.
Or water bottle. You never heard about the water bottle?
No.
Oh.
I heard about the floppy sword.
So, in one of the shots, there was a guy standing there with his... You could see, like, almost half of his body. He's got his hand in his pocket and his leg sticking out, and he's, like, wearing jeans and a t-shirt.
Like a polo.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
So, and they did bring back the blue guy from the very first episode. He was, like,
I don't remember
Carter's
his name.
accountant.
Yeah.
And, so there's some... couple funny scenes with him. I thought the sky battle was pretty good.
Yeah. I kind of thought that the blue dude was going to die.
Yeah.
But he didn't.
Well, I kind of have that problem with this whole show in general.
You feel like someone's going to die and then they don't?
Or just nobody dies.
Oh,
except stormtroopers.
This isn't Game of Thrones, everyone. Your character is probably safe.
I was surprised when they did kill off that one dude in season 1, the I Have Spoken guy.
Oh yeah, that was sad. Don't copy me.
They did kill off that guy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like this show, but at the same time, it's kind of like...
Kill people.
I'm not overly worried about any of the main characters because it doesn't seem that any of the main characters die unless they're Imperials.
And there's parts where it's just like, kill them! And then they don't kill them.
Yeah. So what do you rate this one?
8.7.
8.5 for me. Chapter 13. The Jedi. 45 minutes long. This one, Mando finally gets the info he's looking for.
Oh.
So he got the info he's looking for from Bo-Katan, but then his ship was so damaged. We had to go to Chapter 12 and do a side mission and help out his buddies to get his ship fixed.
Yes.
So in Chapter 13, he uses that information and travels to a world that's ruled by a magistrate who works for the Imperials. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say that he gets his information about, like, who
he's looking for.
Who he's looking for
and
from Bo-Katan.
So in this one, we are introduced, first time in live action, to Ahsoka Tano, who, if you have watched the Clone Wars or the Rebels...
It's probably your favorite character.
is a character that you know well.
Probably your favorite character.
And I kind of expected Ahsoka to show up in this episode. I was surprised how soon they showed
early.
her. Because they showed her, like, immediately.
It wasn't immediate. It was immediately.
Yeah,
they didn't start off with Mando or anything.
No,
it was white lightsabers, boom, it's Ahsoka.
Yes, exactly.
They wasted no time.
So this one had lots of lightsaber action. We learned that Baby Yoda was raised in the Jedi Temple, and that he was trained by many masters.
Not mini masters, but many masters.
Yes. And he's got a name.
Grogu.
Take that for what it's worth. I wasn't too keen on the Grogu name.
After the episode, for a while, we kept having to figure out what his name was. Because we kept forgetting. We were like, Grey Goo? Goku? Don't copy me.
Whatever. So, in this one, Ahsoka won't train Grogu because he's too attached to Din Djarin Mando. And she tells him to take Grogu to Tython. And there's like a stone there.
Place him atop a stone. And if he reaches out through the Force, then a Jedi will come to train him.
May come.
Yes. To train him because they sense his Force.
So I really was kind of conflicted with that information. Because it's like, she didn't want to train him because he was too
Powerful
attached.
and attached.
And he was powerful.
And she was like, I've seen what power like this can do to a fully trained Jedi.
Yes, so she's referencing Anakin. But then she kind of tosses him out there to go find some other Jedi to take on that burden.
She says he can choose his path then. So she's kind of just leaving it up to Grogu.
Yeah.
At that point. They talked.
They did, well, they communicated.
They communicated, like, mind to mind.
Yeah. So, we did get to see some good lightsaber action, and we were introduced to a Beskar staff. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And Ahsoka asks a very important question when she was fighting the Magistrate.
Yes.
Where is Grand Admiral Thrawn?
Yes. So this is the scene, I think, that leads into, the whole Ahsoka series. She's going to go looking for Admiral Thrawn and Ezra Bridger. What she's been doing in the 5 years that she said she was going to look for him, I don't know if she's been looking for him the whole time or what, but that we'll talk about that.
Sidetracked.
We'll talk about that when the show comes out. I'm thinking maybe they'll do some flashbacks, because it's supposed to take place in same time frame as The Mandalorian, so maybe she'll be in that day and time, but she'll have some flashbacks to the last 5 years when she's supposedly looking for Ezra and Thrawn.
They had kind of like a throwback moment where she ignites her lightsabers, but the way she does it is like she's like, and they're like, it almost looks like they come out of each other.
Yeah.
And they did that in Rebels with her duel with Vader, and I thought that was.
So we do finally get to see Moff Gideon again in this episode. I was a little surprised it took this long because, they showed him surviving in episode 8 of season 1, and they showed him with the Darksaber, and then they wait till like halfway through the second season to actually show him at all.
And keep in mind, when we complain or nitpick things, it's because we cannot find anything else that is wrong with the show.
Oh, I can find.
So we're being very critical. And obviously, in the end, it works out.
We're just talking about what goes, like, our thought process. Yeah. It's just... And it was surprising to hear her, because when Ahsoka's fighting the magistrate chick, she's like, tell me where your master is. And then she says, where is Grand Admiral Thrawn? And it's like, I kept expecting her to say Gideon for some reason. But so it threw me for a loop when she said Thrawn. It was a good loop.
I didn't even try to guess who the magistrate's puppeteer was, but I was surprised.
So we do get to see Moff Gideon in this one again, and he's like surrounded by what appears to be robots. I mean, we learn more about him later. So, and he's got some tech with him, checking stuff out, so we're assuming that it's robots, but that could be Iron Man type suits, or we're not sure at this point.
We didn't know what they were.
Yeah. So I rate this one a 9.
9. 9 or 8.8. Somewhere around there.
Okay.
But 9.
We could be a little nitpicky with the live action version of Ahsoka and how she looked, but then, we compare like not General Grievous, but Count Dooku, Clone Wars versus live action. There's a big difference.
Well, yes, but I mean, my issue wasn't with like, oh, she didn't look like Ahsoka. My issue was literally just her Montrals and Leku. Because, I mean, they got it right for Shaak Ti, so...
Yeah.
And Shaak Ti had action scenes.
Well, one speculation is that they made the Leku shorter for the action scenes, and they wanted him to look real, so they didn't want to CGI him. But, like, in one of the... Chapter 11, for the Heiress, when they're attacked by the what were those species with the tentacles?
Corn.
It was really cool because the Corn's holding a rifle with the scope on it, and a tentacle comes out and actually adjusts the scope. And I thought that was just such a cool little touch when they did that. And it just shows what they can do with the CGI, and that they really could have gotten away with doing maybe not full CGI for the Leku, but like a partial CGI.
I'm almost wondering if like Rosario Dawson had a problem with the prosthetics for some reason. Maybe. But that also doesn't explain her angry cat Montrose.
Her Montrose are supposed to be a little more forward. Yeah. So, but again, we're just nitpicking.
Yeah. It's nothing that like dampens our mood or anything.
No, we still enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chapter 14. The Tragedy. Clocking in at 32 minutes.
Speak up.
Clocking in at 32 minutes. Sorry, I was getting dramatic.
I know. Be dramatic. Louder.
Be loudly dramatic. The Mandalorian and child. Mandalorian. I don't know why I said it like that. The Mandalorian and the child travel to an ancient site on Tython. And Grogu starts doing his thing. Like the force reaching outy thing. And he's all closing his eyes and touching a rock.
It's like a blue light up into the sky.
Yeah, and Slave shows up.
Slave 1?
Yeah, Slave 1. And in Slave 1 is Boba Fett and Finnick. So, Finnick. I didn't expect that.
No.
So they show up and talk to Mando, and you can see that, like, Finnick has some cybernetics.
Finnick, she was in, I think, like, episode 4 of season 1, and Mando had left her for dead. And at the end of the episode, they show somebody stepping up to her supposedly dead body. And I kind of assumed it was Boba Fett. So we're getting confirmation in this episode that it is Boba Fett that, you know, we saw on Tatooine in the first episode, and on Tatooine collecting Finnick's body. So.
And I mean, it almost sounds like we're blaming Mando for what happened, but...
Well, no, he was just doing a job.
So, Imperials show up, Boba gets his armor back in such an awesome scene, and he, like, wrecks the stormtroopers, and it looks amazing. And it is amazing. But then the Dark Troopers steal Baby Yoda, and that's not amazing.
Yeah, that was sad.
And then the Razor Crest gets shot and destroyed, and the only things left are the Beskar spear and the little ball that, like, Baby Yoda likes to steal. It's like the shifter for the Razor Crest. Rest in peace, Razor Crest.
When they destroyed the Razor Crest, it was a pretty cool scene because Boba Fett targets the troop transports that are leaving, because they chase the stormtroopers off. They all flee to their troop transports, and there's 2 of them transports flying away. So Boba Fett launches his rocket, shoots one, and it kind of blows up and turns and takes out the other one. And it was really funny because Mando's like, "Oh, nice shot," and Boba's like, "I was aiming for the other one." But then immediately the cruiser that's up in the atmosphere shoots a huge laser blast down and takes out the Razor.
Yeah, so you're sitting there and you're like... And we all just stopped. And we looked at each other, and we looked back to the TV, and we looked at each other again, and we were like...
Did that just happen? Yeah.
Like, take off my figurative glasses and clean them, because I don't think I'm seeing things right. So, and then Mando goes and talks to Cara at the end of the episode.
He's like, "Hey, I need to,
I need help.
I need help. I need
and
this.
She's like,
I
can't bend the rules."
Dude. Yeah, because she's a marshal
he's
now.
like, they took the child, and she's like...
What rules?
Rules are meant to be broken. And Boba Fett says that he's in the debt of Mando.
Yeah, because so when they were talking, Boba Fett's like, "Give me my armor," and Mando's like, "Who are you? You're gonna have to kill me," basically. And then that's when the Imperials come. So Boba Fett gets his armor, and during their exchange, he had said, "I'll trade the armor for the child," or safety of the child, or something like that. So he got his armor back, but then the Grogu got kidnapped.
Stolen.
Yeah, so he's feels like he's indebted to
Mando.
Mando.
Was gonna leave the child. He was like, the child's gone, and Boba's like, no.
I think that's what he looked like under there.
Yes, he's like,
yeah.
That's a baby.
I think a lot of people took this as, Mando is just such a nice guy that he wants to rescue this baby, but I took it as Boba Fett had made a commitment. And
you said Mando.
Well, a lot of people took it as Boba Fett was just such a nice guy. He was going to go rescue the child, but it was more of, he was indebted to Mando at this time. So
I mean, he's a soldier. He's a warrior, so he's going to pay that debt,
and
basically.
His word means something to him.
Yeah.
So since he's like, we'll give safe passage to the child for my armor, and he got his armor back, so he's got to go get the child. Boba's not a nice guy.
He looks out for number one.
Yeah.
And he is.
So, chapter 15, The Believer, or The Believer. This is 38 minutes long, and they need to figure out where...
Oh, wait, we gotta rate the other one.
Oh, yeah. So rate it.
8.5. 8.7.
8.8.
8.9.
So, The Believer, 38 minutes long. They got to go find out where Moff Gideon is. So, what was his name?
Din?
No, the Imperial guy. Mayfield.
Oh.
Yes. Mayfield from episode 3 of season 1. He's a sharpshooter for the Imperials, and he was in season 1, and Mando kind of helped him get arrested. So Cara Dune goes, kind of gets him out of prison. He's working the chain gang in a prison camp, and they need him to use his Imperial knowledge and experience, credentials, whatever you want to call it, to access information on the location of Moff Gideon.
And it's funny because when he gets to the ship, when he gets to Slave 1, Boba comes out and he's like, whew, oh, I thought you were someone else for a second. And then Mando walks down and he's like... he's like... Excuse me?
So they go to this planet, and I can't remember the name of the planet.
Nope.
But they're trying to figure out a way to get into the Imperial base. And this base is like a refinery for a fuel. Rhydonium. And so they stop a Rhydonium transport and kill the Rhydonium transport troopers who have their own special armor. It was really cool looking.
It actually was cool looking.
So Mayfield and Mando both put the armor on because everybody else says that their DNA will be scanned and recognized on the way into the base. So it's down to Mayfield and Mando, and they're driving the transport, and you can tell that the Rhydonium is volatile and not very stable, and if they go too fast, it'll blow up. And other transports ahead of them start blowing up. And
they're like,
what's going on? So then they're attacked by... Pirates. They call them pirates, but I don't know that they were pirates because they weren't...
They weren't the same species.
Well, no, I mean, you don't have to be a certain
I know,
species to
but
be a
I'm
pirate. But they weren't stealing the Rhydonium. They were just trying to blow it up.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they were maybe terrorists that were fighting against the Imperial, being on the planet.
Yeah.
Because they weren't stealing anything. They weren't.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like they were trying to
take it
and sell it. They just wanted to destroy it so that it couldn't be used by the Imperials. So but they did call them pirates. There was some good dialogue in this one. Mayfield kind of monologued a little bit, and after Mando had taken the trooper armor and put it on, Mayfield starts talking about how, you never know how far you'll go until you need to do something, and how a lot of people are the same, and they're going to do what they need to do to survive. And he's like, so, what is it with you? Is it that you can't take your helmet off, or you can't
show your face?
You can't show your face.
He's like, if you're born on one planet, you'll believe one thing, and if you're born on another, you'll believe another thing. Like, Alderaan believes something else. Mandalore believes something else. Yeah.
So, and then that's when the pirates attack, and so that conversation stops. But then they get inside, and Mayfield's going to go use the Imperial console to get the information he needs, and he sees his old commanding officer, and he's like, oh, I can't go.
He might recognize
that dude will
my
recognize
face.
me. So Mando goes, and he actually ends up having to take his helmet off, which I was kind of surprised at. And I didn't know. I'm not sure how I like the way that they did that whole thing, because you had to take your helmet off so it could scan your face, but it still gave him the information he was looking for. So was it scanning his face for facial recognition, or was it scanning his face to have a recording of who accessed what information?
It's probably either that or to make sure they're human.
That could be too. But I don't know. That just seemed like a plot hole to me. It's
just showing what Mando will do to get...
right. But I could have thought of some better ways to do that than...
Okay, Mr. Showwriter.
It just seemed kind of, I don't know. I don't want to say lazy, but... So, and then the commanding officer stops him, of course, and it's like, hey, who are you? And then, of course, Mayfield comes up, and the guy didn't recognize him. So
yeah, I noticed that after, he never.
So Mayfield could have just went up and did it anyways.
But Mando was like, when the commanding officer started talking to him.
So they go and have a drink with the commanding officer, and he starts going off on how great the Empire is, and Mayfield asks about Operation Cinder.
He's like, how about because the commanding officer's like, I don't just want to toast to the Empire because I feel like that's too cliche. And Mayfield's like, why not a toast to Project Cinder?
Operation Cinder.
Operation Cinder.
Which was in Battlefront 2, the single-player mission storyline. And basically, when the Emperor died, he put out this command to destroy a lot of the cities and worlds controlled by the Empire. So they had satellites that were shooting down lasers and destroying cities and stuff like that. So so he ends up shooting him. Mayfield shoots him, and Mayfield and Mando gotta fight their way out onto the roof.
There was a trooper that was in there when Mayfield shot the commanding officer, and it's like you could see the trooper's face drop even though his helmet was on. He was just like...
Yeah.
What?
So they get on the roof, and then Slave One comes down and swoops down, and they jump on, and there was a really cool scene where Boba Fett takes out the TIE fighters. So Boba Fett is Boba Fett with TIE fighters. So Boba Fett takes out the TIE fighters with a seismic bomb like Django tried to do in Attack of the Clones, episode 2, the
It
movie.
was really cool.
When they were fighting with Obi-Wan Kenobi through the minefield. Not minefield, but asteroid field.
Yeah.
It was really cool. And before, as soon as it opened up the bay and I could see it, I heard the sound of the explosion. Yeah, I was like, that's the thing!
He did the thing! And then Mayfield takes out the Rhydonium.
Oh yeah, he shoots
he shoots the Rhydonium that was
transports.
on the transports.
And it
blows
blows
up the facility.
Yeah. Because one thing the commanding officer said was, how much damage they were going to be able to do to the New Republic with all this Rhydonium that they had. Because they could use it for fuel or explosives or whatever. So this one I rate, this was probably an 8.8 for me.
At the end of the episode, too, they let Mayfield go. They don't have him go back to the junkyard. They're like talking in front of him and stuff, and Cara and Mando are talking, and they're like, yeah, I'm pretty sure Mayfield died in battle.
Yeah.
Kind of sad, he's dead. He's not coming back to the prison. I rate it an 8.5.
This was your least favorite episode and it still gets that rating?
Yeah.
Wow. You must really like this show.
8.4.
Oh.
What was your rating? I wasn't listening.
8.8.
What?
Yeah. Pretty sure. Rewind the tape.
Nah, they can do that. Chapter 16, The Rescue, 45 glorious minutes. Din, Boba, Finnick, Cara, Kashka, Bo-Katan, they all team up to rescue Baby Yoda. Bo-Katan wants the Darksaber and the light cruiser that Moff Gideon commands, and Cara wants to arrest Moff Gideon to question him, and Mando wants Grogu.
Yeah, pretty much. We went super in depth in this episode on our last video. Mm-hmm. So if you haven't watched that video, check it out. Lots of spoilers there. But we went super in depth and talked about kind of what we think is going to happen next season. Make sure with this one you watch it through the credits. There is a mid-credit scene.
Yes.
This was my favorite episode
out of
so
all
far.
Of them.
Yeah, both seasons. I mean, it had good action.
Had good acting.
Awesome cinematics.
Had good special effects.
Yeah.
Had good choreography. Good dialogue. Had good costume department costumes. Had good characters.
And who shows up at the end?
Had a good Jedi. Luke!
Luke showed up at the end. We kind of expected a Jedi to show up, but we didn't know who. And
Dad and I were fighting about it.
Well, we were kind of arguing on whether... I knew a Jedi was going to show up, but I didn't think they should because Grogu did his, come find me thing on Tython. But then he got kidnapped, so he's like, I don't even know how far away he is. So I'm thinking, and I said out loud, how's a Jedi even going to be able to find him? Because he's not where he sent out his call from.
And I was like, well, just track him. If the Jedi is powerful enough, then he can just track him with the Force. And Dad was like, well, I never.
Plot is basically what it came down to. So then when we saw somebody showing up, then we were kind of arguing over who it was going to be. I had a feeling that they were going to bring a Jedi in. It was just a matter of who they were going to bring in. I like the fact that they brought Luke in. I was kind of hoping they were going to bring Mace Windu in. Just to show that he did survive.
I totally forgot that, that was my hope.
Yeah.
But
I like the way they did it. They did a fantastic job.
I think there's still a chance that he might show up in other things.
Yeah, he could show up in the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
The animated series, really. So,
if you could, see him in the background somewhere with like a family or something.
Yeah, maybe. What do you rate this episode?
Middle hand. I think I gave it a 9.5, 9.6, 9.8.
9.7. Because I gave it a 9.5. And then you gave it a 9.7 in the last video. We did watch this episode twice.
Yes.
It's still Friday, so we watched it twice within 16 hours of each other. Just because we wanted to do... After we watched it the first time and saw the ending, it's like, we got to do a video on this.
We're going to do a video
So we decided to go to bed and then wait until, we got up and did life stuff. Then we watched it again while we ate dinner and did a video right away. So this was definitely the best episode of the whole kit and caboodle so far. And we'll see what they have planned with season 3. Kit and caboodle, the whole thing. This was the best Star Wars that we've gotten with Disney Star Wars. Just this one episode, I think.
Yeah.
Before, my favorite Disney Star Wars was Rogue One.
Yeah.
And after season 1 of The Mandalorian, I was kind of like, both of them were good. Rogue One and The Mandalorian. But after season 2 of The Mandalorian, especially after the last episode of season 2 of The Mandalorian, it is the best Disney Star Wars that we've gotten. I still enjoy Rebels.
Clone Wars.
The Disney Clone Wars that we've gotten, which it really isn't very much.
Yeah.
Not all of season 7 of the Clone Wars was Disney.
Oh.
Because the Bad Batch was pretty much already done before Disney bought it.
So they gave us the sisters?
Oh, well, yeah, of course. They gave us The Last Jedi. Disney.
Of course they were behind something as awful as that.
The sisters. So, this is, I feel, especially this last episode, I feel like this is what the prequel, or the sequel trilogy should have been.
Yeah.
And very easily could have been. And what the fans deserved it to be. We're finally getting, I feel, the Star Wars that the fans deserve. The Luke Skywalker that the fans wanted. So, yeah. Anything else? So, overall, the whole show, season 1, what would you rate?
Season 1?
Yes.
9.
See, I would give
5.
Season 1 overall?
Yeah.
I was going to give it like an 8.
I upstaged you.
Well, I don't care. It's all subjective. But overall, I will give season 2 probably 8.8 overall. There were some 9s, there were some 8.5, there was a 9.5. So what do you give season 2?
9.8.
What? Just because of the last episode?
Just because all of it.
Okay. All right.
Star Wars done right.
Finally. We're getting it. So if you've made it this far, make sure to like this video or dislike this video. If you're hate watching us right now, go ahead and hit that thumbs down.
Thank you for the view. Thank you for increasing our reach.
If you have anything you want to say, let us know what you liked. Let us know what you disliked about The Mandalorian. Leave it in the comments. Don't comment on Facebook. Leave the comment here. Come on, people. And if you like our content, make sure to subscribe.
Share it with your friends, your family.
Your grandma.
Your grandma's book club.
I'm Gen X.
I'm Gen Z. And
we are Generational Geeks.